So how do we create artificial gravity through quantum physics? Now, so how I came across this idea is I was thinking, how can we overcome Earth's gravity? Um, Gravity is always pushing down on us, right? It's always going in one direction. It's always the same direction. It's down and pushing against us, keeping us down, keeping us trapped on Earth. And so, is there any example in physics where you're able to go against a down force, go against a force, or use that force to travel in another direction? And one example of this that exists is sailboats. So what's interesting with sailboats is that you can sail anywhere. It doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. Even though the wind is what pushes you to where you're going, sailboats can still sail anywhere. So how are they able to do that, right? Like the wind is always in one direction, and it's pushing them down. It's pushing you away. Yet boats are able to travel anywhere. So how are they able to do that? Um, and so boats are able to do this by the way that they angle their sail. And so by angling the sail in the right way, you can make it so the wind, instead of going and pushing you this way, it ends up like shearing off, and it pushes you sideways instead. And which is really cool. So then if the wind is blowing in this direction and I want to travel in that direction, then you angle the sail so that I get pushed off in this direction a little ways, and then I switch the sail and angle it so I can go in this direction a little ways, and then keep doing that, and you're able to sail directly into that direction. This force is pushing us this way, but we're still able to sail in that direction. So why can't we do the same thing with gravity, right? Gravity is pushing down, and so we need some way that we can use that force that's pushing down to shear us off sideways, to be able to capture that energy and shear us this way. And if you do that, you can go this way, and then you switch whatever this device is to make it go the other way, and the other way, and then you're able to um, defeat gravity and travel against it using its own energy. Um, and so what would a device like this be? What you basically need is a gravity sail, right? You need some material or some thing that's able to have this property. Another thing may be like I don't think we know of any material that can just sort of jump off and scoot off in one direction. Um, but maybe you can imagine the other way around, like maybe if you drop an object, find something you can drop and it's able to scoot off in one direction, but not from the wind. You'll to eliminate the possibility that it was the wind or like the Coriolis effect or something else that would get it to shear off sideways, either by like dropping it or maybe throwing it in the air or something in order to do this. And So what's interesting is, like, as far as we know, all of our materials, they respond to gravity, right? Like, um, it doesn't matter what the material is made out of. I let it go and it drops and it falls to the ground because of gravity. And so, maybe it's a shape problem. Maybe it's just to get the right material in the right shape, and you can somehow create a gravity sail. But um, uh, it's probably likely, if it was possible, to be a material science problem. And like, again, as far as all of the elements, and it's like, try taking the different elements from the periodic table and combining them together in different ways, um, but it doesn't create an element that's able to defy gravity. And so, the problem here is that we're thinking about atoms in terms of thinking that atoms are the building blocks that we can build everything out of. When really atoms themselves, of course, they have their own building blocks that they're made out of: electrons and quarks and gluons and protons and all that cool stuff. And but those building blocks happen to be assembled in a way that makes an atom. And so imagine, like, your phone. It has a screen, it has a speaker, it has a camera, it has buttons, it has a computer, it has all of these different building blocks, but it happens to be assembled in the shape of a phone. But we can also take those same basic building blocks and we could build a TV out of it, or we could build a laptop out of it, or we could build a point and shoot camera out of it. And I think this is what we would need in the material science sense, is to be able to build things that aren't atoms, but are made out of the same building blocks that atoms are made out of. And these would truly be quantum machines. Now, I know we use that language in another way, but I think this would be a better use of that language, in that you can call that's what an atom is. It's a quantum machine. It is just one type of machine, just like a cell phone is one type of machine that you can build with electronics. And an atom is one type of machine that you can build with these quantum mechanical components. And so that's the interesting thing, is figuring out what could you build something else that isn't an atom. And I think if you're able to do that, you could probably make something that you could make a gravity sail and make all kinds of cool things. And so how do you do that? And this is where cryogenics research comes in. And so when you go back, like, to the original um, promise of alchemy and chemistry of turning lead into gold, um, and it seems like that might be possible if you're able to get the elements cold enough. And if you're able to get them, because everything is moving around so much, if you're able to get them cold enough, you can slow everything down and then go in and take a lead atom and rearrange and do what you need to do to turn it into a gold atom. Add the electrons, remove whatever electrons you need to do to make it into this new element. It's like one of the reasons why they're interested in going back to the moon. It's because the moon has places where the sun doesn't shine, so it's inside of craters, which makes it really, really cold there, and we have water that's stored in these craters. It's super cold, and so could you go in and then modify the water, make something else, make some other material out of it, or not just going in and just modifying the electrons and protons, but just build a completely new thing that isn't even on the periodic table. You wouldn't even be able to classify it on the periodic table, because the periodic table is like the Wikipedia page of different types of cell phones, right? We want to make other things using these quantum mechanical bits. So this is one potential technology pathway for creating artificial gravity. And there's another one, which is vibrations and sound.